so excited to be in a space with you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
I'm a huge fan. You know that. Fangirling over here. We always start our conversation with one particular question,
Okay.
and that is going back in time to graduation day from high school.
Okay.
All right. And you're looking out into your future. Tell us what you're seeing, what you're feeling. Tell us what's going on there.
Can we curse on here?
Yes.
Okay. Scared shit. I will say that. To start, I think graduating high school, I thought I was going to be in the FBI or the CIA or something of that nature. But at the same time, I've always been an entrepreneur in some regard, whether that be, selling baseball cards when I was 7 or starting a blog when I was like 16. I've
Okay.
always delved into like sales and marketing and just like being creative, but overall. Um, so like both those things were on my mind. Of course, I was a teenager at the time. So just navigating life and just trying to figure things out was probably like what was on my mind at the time. Didn't know what was to come. But my parents raised me well to, just push ahead in all that I do, whatever challenge came my way. And just naturally, I'm that type of person, just to kind of like put my head down and just like hustle. And so I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
but
no,
It
that's
does. It
perfect. That's
absolutely does.
perfect. What in particular had you scared shit?
I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I didn't know exactly the path to go, whether it be my creative pursuits, or something that was more probably like financially secure. So like doing things that were fun and kind of like what I wanted to do, or maybe somewhat of what like my parents wanted me to do. Both I was very interested in. But just hoping that I would make the right choice was the biggest thing. It was the biggest, scariest part to me. So
Yeah.
This idea that there was a right way.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A right way and a wrong way.
I feel
right.
like that's a common trait when you're 16 and 17 and 18 years old. I have nieces and nephews in that age group right now. And I remember myself thinking like you had to make the right decision as if there was only one.
Yeah.
You're
Like
right.
you're going to mess it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going
Yeah.
to destroy your life.
Right. Go to the wrong college and ruin it all.
Yeah.
I think now, being the oldest of 5, I tell my sisters, 5 girls, I tell my sisters all the time, like, y'all are young. I'm young still. Like, you can switch things up. You can decide to like start a window cleaning company. You can go back to school. You can change your major. You can do those things. Always think about you only have one life, so I try to like live it to the fullest.
And
know?
Yeah.
are you from here?
I'm from Lexington
Lexington,
originally,
okay.
but I moved up here for football. So
Okay. All right. So you're trying to figure out what you want to do. You're worried that you're going to make the wrong choice. What choice did you end up making?
we won't get too deep into the life story, but I ended up going to school for criminal justice. Thought I wanted to be a lawyer at one point. Thought I wanted to work in government at one point, which is how I ended up at UK at the Passion School. Um, all those things I was going along with what I thought was the right thing. All the while I like have all these ideas and these creative things that I want to pursue at the same time. And I do in some ways. I try to at least try to juggle school and those same creative pursuits. But realized after graduating, one, I had a lot of student debt, that I needed to get a job and focus on, paying off student debt, and just working and continuing to do the right thing. So I still kind of put those creative pursuits on hold, business ideas on hold. And then I met my husband, and he was like, "Well, you can do both, or we could try to do these things." And eventually, it ended up into lawn washing after
Really?
after a few other ideas, failed ideas. But
And where'd you meet your husband?
I met him while I was in grad school.
Getting the first of your 2 master's degrees?
Yeah, the first one. So I met originally when I first went to grad school. I met him, but we had first met when we were at 16 and 17. We went to an entrepreneur camp together. It sounds really nerdy. We went to an entrepreneur camp for like a week together where we like had to do all these business projects, come up with ideas and stuff.
What was the entrepreneur camp? Was it Governor's School for Entrepreneurs or was it a different one?
It was a different one. It was a small one. It was
That's
held at.
adorable. What an adorable story.
It's funny because I don't know how the lady who was running the group at the time, she found me on Facebook and was like, "I have a picture of you and your now husband from that time. There's one of us together, a group photo of all the kids, and both of us in it. We knew each other at the time, but we didn't talk. And then another one where it's us separate pictures of us where we're graduating from the program. So we like to say we met when we were teens at a goofy
Entrepreneur
entrepreneur camp.
What was your business in entrepreneur camp? Because normally in those camps, you have to come up with a business and a business plan, right?
Yeah, and
You don't even
no,
remember?
I don't even remember.
She's had so many
Too many
ideas
Yeah, I've had too many
between
ideas.
then and now. She's
Yeah.
had like 200 ideas.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think James and I, we sometimes talk about it. Sometimes I, like, go and try to find the picture on my phone. I still have it. One day I'll show other people, but, like, we look horrible, like teenagers.
That's
Goofy.
adorable. I
Did
love
you
it.
play football in college? When did football come into this situation? Because I didn't know.
Football came around, when I was in college, I played flag football. Just, in the summers, like,
You're
there's
like,
rec
screw flags. I want to take someone down.
there's rec leagues all around town in Lexington, so I joined a rec league, was just playing constantly. I've always played, like, sports, always been into sports. Basketball was my main thing in high school, but I really enjoyed football and just playing with the guys when I was a kid, and so joined a rec league, really fell in love with it, and then once I eventually met James and brought him into it too, I was like, girls can play tackle football too. Like, I don't know, I just had this thought of, like, why can't girls put on pads and, like, play tackle football as well? And I was like, I wonder if this is a thing. And so once I get curious about something, I'm, like, just in it, like, Googling everything, found the league, realized there was one in Louisville. I was like, "Is this real?" And so, like, I DM'd the Instagram, and the owner responded. I was like, "Hey, is this a real team? Are y'all still, like, active? Because I've never heard of a women's tackle football team." She's like, "Yeah, tryouts are happening in, like, 3 weeks. Come up to Louisville, blah, 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 blah." And, yeah, that's just how it went. First year, went to, the national championship.
What?
My rookie year. Very proud. We lost by 1.
As quarterback?
Mhm.
What?
That's
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah, so we went and they host the, I don't know if you know of, like, the Canton, that's where they have, like, the NFL Hall of Fame. So they have a field up in Canton, Ohio, and that's where all the games are, so.
That's so
Okay.
cool. That's so cool.
I'm deeply embarrassed I don't know about this. First of all, I didn't know that about you, and I'm
Mhm.
also embarrassed I don't know about this league.
I didn't know about it either, and I mean, I'm a huge sports fan, so, like, especially women's sports. I grew up playing volleyball. I played in college. I still play club volleyball, or, like, I play, like, beer league,
Mm.
but with the girls that play good. I play open. Yeah, that's what we call it.
Sounds safe.
Yeah, it's like we drink a beer, play volleyball,
Haven't
and then
done that
wonder
yet?
why it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
No, but it's
How did I
mostly on
break
the
my
sand.
ankle?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like a nonprofit,
Mhm.
but I mean, it's large. Like
All
I
right.
said, it's like,
Where do people find out more if they're interested?
WFAProFootball.com.
We're
Okay.
going to a game in our Renegade
Let's go.
gear.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Get
Yeah.
some signs.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and we're trying to bring girls from, like, flag football into it and just try to make that connection as well, so.
Yeah. I
Wow.
think I would have very much enjoyed getting to tackle people.
My husband, scared half the time, all the time when he's watching me because, playing quarterback, people are trying to kill me,
Yeah.
but there's, like, a lot of adrenaline. I enjoy.
Yeah, I would rather be quarterback and have other people tackling on my behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that when, like, I stopped playing basketball and only played volleyball, I missed the little let go of some aggression.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I still get to have my aggression that I let go.
Yes.
I accidentally made a kid's nosebleed, like, this week. It
Oh,
was an
dang.
accident. It was an accident, but, it's not the same as, yeah, like,
Yeah. I
contact.
played tennis, and it
Alright,
is
cool.
extremely satisfying
Tennis is
to
fun.
put a ball right at someone's foot,
Mhm.
and maybe it hits him in the chest.
Darn.
I'm trying to go for the feet, but it's deeply satisfying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you have this, like, ultra competitive spirit,
I
which
do.
led you to, multiple sports, eventually to pro tackle football,
Mhm.
Which is so cool, but also this interweaving of what is now your spouse
Mhm.
and entrepreneurial spirit.
Mm.
What were you doing for work when you met your spouse? Because it sounds like he helped you all together decided to pursue the window washing company.
Right, so after meeting him, when we first met, and I was, like, in grad school, and I was, like, I had a few ideas, small ideas, a lot of them failed. Fast forward to, like, when we moved up to Louisville, I was working in sports, so I worked for Louisville City, as I was playing football when I first got here, and then after leaving Louisville City, I ended up, in working for a sports tech company out of Boston, so it was a small startup. There was, like, 25 of us, and I was working in sales for them. So a lot of my, career options are, like, things I've gone after have all revolved around sales, because I enjoy sales and marketing and things like
They're
that.
both sports and sales.
Well, yeah, so yeah, for the company, it was called Perch. It was sports and sales. So it was a sports company, and I was on their sales team. And then with Louisville City, obviously, it's sports and sales. So, yep.
We're related. I don't know. There's something I think there's just something about you. I feel like somehow we gotta trace our ancestry.
I feel it.
Like,
I feel it. I guess the latter half of your question, when I was working for the second sports company, it being a startup at the time, like startups, were going through a whole, thing of
Yeah,
like
we've been
people,
there.
mhm,
people
mhm.
getting laid off. And eventually I was a part of that. Unfortunately, it was a great company to work for, but I was a part of that layoff at some point. Um, and at that point, I was like, this is the time. Like, I'm gonna start a business. I was like, I want independence. I want freedom. I want control over my own like growth and like security. Like, I want that for myself. I wanna take control. So I was like, "I'm gonna start a business." And so I remember walking out. I was still working at the tech company, and I was, like, it was, like, after a meeting. I walked outside. It was a lovely day, and I was just walking around. I was, like, on Instagram. That's initially where I got the idea from, and I seen somebody talking about window cleaning. It's not the sexiest thing, but it has a low barrier to entry, equipment's, like $200 to really get started. And I went back inside and I told my husband, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna start a window cleaning business." He's like, "All right." So that week, still working there before I got laid off, I just went and got all the equipment at Lowe's. I spent like $200, uh, got, business cards, put together, like 200 of those. Things I've done before, because like, the adrenaline's rushing. I've done all this before with, like, other business
I know
ideas.
exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I've done this before, and so, like, I get everything done in, like, 2 days, and I just like, we live in an apartment off of Westport Road, and there's this nice neighborhood right behind us, and I started knocking on doors, and I was like, "Hey,"
Knocking on doors has been a recent theme here. Yes,
Yeah.
of
It's
just
my
like
favorite.
the grit, the hustle part.
You
Yes.
got to, you have to, otherwise nobody knows who I am,
Yeah.
So I get out there, I start knocking on doors. For the most part, everybody said no, but then eventually I get a yes, that's usually how it works, the more no's you get, eventually you'll get a yes. Um, and so the yes actually came from, a coffee shop next door in Westport Village, North Lime. They were my first customer. I walk in there and I'm like, "Hey, can I wash your windows?" I got the whole spiel, which is me usually just being genuine. I'm not trying to, like, be sales or anything. I'm like, "Hey, do you mind if I wash your windows?" And I didn't expect him to be like, "Sure." And I was like, I don't know what to say after this. Like like
I was waiting for the no.
yeah, I was
I
waiting
got
for
my
the no.
business cards and I got the ask, but I don't know what to do now.
I was not prepared for that, and he was like, "Sure." He was like, "I think we can pull that." And I was like, "Alright." And he was like, "When can you come back?" I was like, "Next Saturday." And I was like, at the time, I was like, I've never washed a window in my life, so I was like, $30? And he was like, "I think we could do that." And he only got, like, 6 windows, so kinda worked. And then from there, it's just like, you get that feeling when you make your first sale, and it's like, "Alright, time to hit some more doors."
Well, especially in Westport Village. I mean, I hope you
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh, yeah, I definitely went all the way around.
yeah.
Yeah. Tried to get into their newsletter. A few more no's, but actually got, Westport Village right 2 doors down from them is a haircut place. I can't remember, 18 and 8. I got them, and I was, they only got, like, 2 or 3 windows as well, so I was doing them. There's a wedding store in Westport Village, got them. So yeah.
Once one person says yes, it's not even just that you
Mhm.
get the itch, it's the other people are like, "Well, if North Lime's doing it, then I
Yeah.
will." Yeah.
Yeah.
When I sold signs, I would say, I'm here,
Mhm.
visiting with North Lime
Mhm.
about their sign. I
Mhm.
just thought I'd stop in and see if you need anything.
Yep.
And there's something about that endorsement of I'm already
Mhm.
doing business here
Mhm.
in this neighborhood. So
Yep.
Yeah.
it worked really well.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've told Maggie when I first met her, I was like, that first year during like, it was cold, I'm, like, talking, like, freezing. I was on Bardstown Road, just, like, walking up and down Bardstown Road, like, nobody's outside because it's, like, legitimately cold. I'm just like, "Hey, can I wash your windows? Hey, can I wash your windows?" Lots of no's, lots of emails, lots of but the bulk of it was just experience for me. Just, like, putting myself out there and kinda getting used to I'm used to selling, but, like, just getting back, like, "Hey, like, I'm starting this business. I've been doing this for, like, almost 2 years now. I haven't had a regular job, it's just me." So, like, just getting back out there and, like, feeling like, "Hey, this is all on me, so I have to get out there." So
Mhm. So, how you said you've been doing this for 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, where is your business now? Is it you still doing all of your sales, all of your marketing, all of your window washing?
Yes. Well, not me by myself. I have, like, a squad of, like, 3 people, that I call upon. It's more of a contract work.
Okay.
So I reach out to them when I have jobs. I let them know in advance, like, "Hey, this is what the month looks like, and you let me know what you can do." I think I'm a pretty cool boss. I'm pretty lenient. But, it's at the point where they're like, "Hey, do we got work today? We got work today. We got work today." So it's been good.
And that'll drive you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
trying to
that
keep
drives
your
me too.
employees
Yeah,
going
absolutely,
is really,
absolutely,
that's a good
absolutely.
driver.
And then, James typically takes care of he works in finance, so he takes care of, like, the taxes and things on the backside, and I'm more of, like, the operational and
And the
sales and
sales.
marketing and all that, so yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool that you just kind of went for it. So tell us about your, like, vision and why window washing? I mean, you said it was a low barrier to entry, but what made you stick with this one compared to some of the other ideas, and what made them, quote, unquote, "failures," which I don't necessarily, things
Lessons.
stop,
Mm-mm.
right, yeah. But versus this one right now being the thing that you're going for.
I think just going back to, like, just demand, I guess, like, everybody has a window. There's windows everywhere. When I first started, I was like, "Man, there are so many windows that I could be washing, like, that's $1, that's $1, that's $1." So just the opportunity, really. Uh, you're right, a lot of my previous ideas I say failures because I was probably pissed at the time, but, like, but I did learn a lot from all of those, and I still I'm still very creative in that aspect just outside of window cleaning. There's other ideas I definitely wanna pursue, but I think window cleaning was a chance for me to, like, start a business now, and create that I don't know, just that opportunity for myself to have that independence, that freedom, and that control, and, create financial security for myself that eventually one day I can, well, 1, scale this and then have somebody else run it, but also pursue other ideas and other businesses, and go on to do other things as well. So I think it's kinda like the stepping stone, really.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
little training ground for you.
Right.
platform.
It's like a
Yeah.
great business. It could scale. It
Right.
could become something massive.
Right.
But on the other hand, like we just we interview owners who keep their business a certain manageable size because it
Right.
suits their,
Yeah, it
maybe
works.
they have other
Their goals.
businesses they
Yep.
want to get into. So
Yep.
I love it. And we met at you had to remind me, but we met at Mentoring Monday,
Mhm.
Business First Mentoring Monday.
Mhm.
And you've been there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's like speed dating, sort of.
Right.
There's a line of people, and I was the mentor. I've been the mentee, but this time I was the mentor. And one by one, they come up and talk to you. And Olivia came up and talked to me. And there's just something about your energy. I was just like, yes, we need to be staying connected.
Yeah.
And then she joined BNI.
Mhm.
So it's been fun because I kind of felt like I met you early
Mhm.
in your
Did.
start,
Did.
but I could see it in you. And I was like, she's going to have this. This is just going to go. It's funny how you get an instinct when you
Yes.
meet business owners or you meet aspiring young people. I feel like a lot of ways I was like that because I was very much full of doubt. Like,
Mhm.
why me? Why would I
Mhm.
be hired? Why would someone want?
Mhm.
And then I learned, oh no, sometimes you just have something. People trust me.
Yeah.
People like me and trust me. And,
Mhm.
I'm trustworthy. So
Mhm.
great. And I think you have that same thing.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, I think there's this aspect of showing up, right? Like, when I feel like one of the reasons why I got some of those opportunities when I was younger was I said yes, and then I showed up. I
Oh,
did
yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
And just having that level of, like, um, trustworthiness or authenticity or, like, um, consistency, whatever it was, but it was like they were unknowing. I don't even know if the person knew they were giving me little tests. That wasn't necessarily the thing that they were going for, but they were little tests.
Auditions. That's what I
Yeah.
tell my
Yeah.
employees, my sales employees. I say, if customer calls, you answer the phone and they ask you a question you can't answer
Mhm.
and you say, "I don't know, I'm gonna call you back."
Mhm.
That is your opportunity to audition.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because when you call them back with an answer, they're impressed
Right.
because that
They
doesn't
trust.
always happen.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's and some of it is like as an entrepreneur, some businesses are such a reflection of the owner. And I try so hard to instill in my sales team, my whole team, that we show up when we say we're gonna
Mhm.
be there at 2 o'clock, we better be there darn near 2 o'clock,
Right.
Mhm.
and when we say you're gonna have an estimate by Friday,
Gotta have.
if you aren't gonna
Yep.
have it by Friday, you gotta reach out to that customer and
Mhm.
tell
Let
them
'em
'em you're
know.
not gonna have it by
Yeah.
Friday. And it's hard, but it's hard to do. It's hard to put your own values into your employees,
Mhm.
but it's so important to me that my business reflect who I am. I don't think
Absolutely.
that's always true in every business, but for me, that's true. How for you, tell me a little bit about how you feel like your values are expressed in your employees.
Just going back to, like, showing up, dependability, customer service, I value those things a great deal, because we work in the service industry. We're providing a service to people in their homes, and so I try to instill in my employees, my contract folks, when they come on, like, "Hey, this is a big deal, we're going into their homes, we're cleaning for them. It may sound silly to you, it's not the most glamorous thing cleaning windows, but, people really appreciate it, and they really, look forward to having a clear view and shiny windows. So I just try to remind them, and teach them and coach them throughout the process, throughout them working for me, like, "Hey, customer service, chatting up with people, following up with people if it has to do with a quote, or, just making sure you're going above and beyond when you're cleaning a window." Again, sounds funny, but, like, just doing your best while we're in their home.
But I think bringing value and pride in your work, I don't think we sh I think we're actually having a moment where we're stopping to devaluing, jobs. Like, I think as a society, we devalued things and saying it's just window washing, and now we're kind of having this moment saying, like, "No, that there's value and there's opportunity and things that might sound boring and things that might sound, um, less sexy."
Yeah.
But in fact, there is value in that. And
Mhm.
one thing when I think about you all specifically and something that you've both expressed in your stories is that you have this deep driving creativity, and yet I would call your businesses like what people might on the outside view as like standard,
Mhm.
Ordinary,
Yeah,
ordinary
every
ordinary.
day.
Yeah.
businesses. And as entrepreneurs, we can inject our creativity and it doesn't matter what. Like
Mhm.
it can be
Mm-mm.
window washing, it can be signs,
Mhm.
it can be plumbing, it can be something that might someone might think of as traditionally creative. And the businesses that look traditionally creative, like podcasting, have all the same exact functions
Mhm.
as another one,
Yeah.
and so it's just a product or a service. Um, and there's value and creativity and opportunity in all different types of businesses, and I think that that's really unique. So talk a little bit more about how you've brought your creative self into something that sounds ordinary.
I think the marketing side of it is where I tend to have a lot of fun when it comes to bringing my creativity into it. So, like, videos and just, like, how I present myself via Facebook or Instagram, or, when I'm doing a little bit of video work and things like that. Um, that's where I kinda, like, implement my creative side.
Mhm.
Um I think that's probably the only place that I'm able to create implement my creative side. Everything else is, again, like, pretty standard, and to the T. I guess when I'm talking to people, you see, I guess, my personality is, I don't know about creative, but just, like, more energetic, so I bring a lot of that when I'm, like, talking to people about the sales side of it, or just trying to, explain, like, a quote or things like that. Um, I'm more obviously more energetic, more personality, instead of just like, "Hey, you got this many windows and this is how much it's gonna cost." I'm more like, "Hey, how's it going? How's, your uncle? How's the kids?" Things like that.
Big relationship
Ye
building.
I'm
Yeah,
huge.
especially in their home.
Listen, I'm very big on that. Like, once I'm in your home, you're basically family to me. So, we're basically family, and I treat people like family. Like, I'll sit down with them, like, mid-job and just, like, chat with them about whatever is going on, like, lovely home, things like that. But, yeah, once my mindset always, like, once I'm in your home, we're like cousins at this point, like, we're friends, and I had the mindset that I treat all my, customers as friends and family, so,
That's
Eh,
awesome.
have
yeah.
you had, a situation where the windows are just really, really dirty?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
how hard is it to clean a really dirty window? Because
It can
I hate washing windows.
Listen, it gets I've had some long days for sure, especially, like, storm windows or, like, really old windows where the first thing as soon as I get there, they're like, "These windows haven't been cleaned probably in 30 years." Like, I've been here 30 years and they haven't been cleaned. I'm just like, "It's all good, we'll be good." And I walk up to the window, I'm like, "It's gonna be a long day." So, um, I mean, we have the tools to, get it done, but, I'm not particularly phased about it. Maybe in the beginning, yes.
Yeah, maybe
Luck
didn't know how to quote it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too. So,
That's
I
what I was
mean
about to ask about pricing and how did you determine pricing? It sounds like in your retelling of the story, someone said yes, and you were like, $30."
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
y'all just threw a number out there.
Yeah.
So, it was a lot of research. So, there's a lot of groups on social media, so, like, Reddit, Facebook. There's a lot of groups. A lot of them can be a little much, and a lot of them are very, supportive. So you can get on there and ask questions. I also go by just the market, like, calling other places and seeing how much they're charging and things like that, and then coming up, with what makes sense for us as far as, like, margins go. That way we're not pricing ourselves out, but we're also making dollars, so
Oh, we skipped over your second master's degree.
Oh, yeah, we
okay.
did.
My MBA?
Yeah. Did you decide
MBA,
did
yeah,
you
tell us
decide to
about
go
that.
get that after deciding to be an entrepreneur or before? Like, where did
I
that
don't do
fall
you
in the story?
bend time and space? I don't
Yeah.
It
understand.
sounds like it, doesn't even when y'all talk about it, it sounds like it. I mean, I think for a while I was still trying to figure things out, I'm still trying to figure things out.
We all are.
Yeah, so at the time I was working in sports. I really, really enjoy sports, play sports, worked in sports. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get an MBA and have it focus in marketing and sports. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. Got on with the startup company, and then after losing my job from that, and around the same time I had finished my MBA, I was just like, maybe this is a sign that, like, this is not the route, At least I kinda took that as a sign. I was like, "Man, I just paid all this money for an MBA, and I'm not working in sports anymore." And I was like at that point, I was just like, "I'm gonna start my own business." I'll have this MBA, I've learned a lot from it as far as, like, marketing and sales and finance and things like that, so it's useful. Um, so yeah, I mean, I got it having one plan, but then that plan quickly changed, so for the
Wow,
better, though.
it's a lot of education, that's awesome.
Yep.
A lot of our we are intentionally talking to different guests at different stages of their business and their life, to help educate on the just massive amount of diversity in stories and types of businesses and everything that different people can do, and to help educate on the reality of people's journeys. How long, or if at all, did it take you to go from starting the business to replacing your corporate startup salary? Or have you got there yet?
Oh, the first year.
First year.
I did in the first year.
Dang, girl.
Wow,
I did in the first year. Um,
that's a lot of windows.
yes, it was. Blessed. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of, like, semi fumbling over myself, but I got through it. Very hot summer and spring, but
Were you
yeah,
working
first year.
like a million hours, or did you figure out like a time? How did you figure out how to cover your salary? Time,
It's
money, value
it's
thing.
funny because, like, for a moment there, I was working all the time. I was saying yes to everybody, and then I had a conversation with my best friend, I was like, "Wait a second." We were just talking about it. I was like, "Wait a second. I own the company. Like, if I need to take a day off, I can." Like,
Yeah.
but for so long, I was just going and going and going. But, yeah, in the first year, I replaced my salary. It was me, and I had hired one other person for, like, the first 2 or 3 months, and then James would help here and there. And then eventually, like, things were getting extremely busy.
The
Yeah.
wheel starts turning
Turning
and
even
then
faster, yeah,
mhm.
so I had to bring on more people, and just kinda, like, bring them into the fold, train them up, and be like, "Hey, this is how you clean a window properly," and just, like, "Here's all the equipment." Just giving them a crash course very quickly because I needed the help very quickly. And then sometimes it happens, and I'm sure you can attest to this, both of you, where you just gotta do it on your own. Like, I've had people where I've unfortunately pulled up to a job, and it's just me, and, I'm calling like, "Hey, where you at?" But it ends up just being me, and I have to do the job on my own, and, I get through it. It's my business at the end of the day,
Or someone's not doing their job right,
or someone's not
and
doing
you
their
gotta
job.
fire them, and
All those
then
things.
you're like, "Okay, I guess it's me.
Yep, all those
Counting
things
on
have happened.
me."
Yep.
What is like, in the window washing business, it's wonderful that you're kind of, like, getting these mentors,
Mhm,
online, and you're
mhm,
finding people who can help you.
mhm.
Like, what is your vision for where this how this grows? Because it could grow in a lot of different ways, I'm guessing, but how do you see it growing in the next phase?
In the next phase, I've actually talked about this with my husband, like, I've thought about year 3, rebranding a little bit. We have other services outside of just window cleaning, so we do, like, pressure washing, roof washing, solar panel cleaning, so we have other services that we do because we have the equipment and all those kinda go with it. So thought about rebranding in the 3rd year, and then just continuing to scale. I wanna get to a point where, uh, I can have someone come in and manage it, uh, that way and have them on full time, because, with window cleaning and a lot of, like, exterior services, it's seasonal.
Mhm.
Some more than others. And so I would love to have bring somebody on that can, like, manage it year round, make sure they have business year round, and I would continue to do that part. But then eventually I'm able to move on to my next business because that is the goal to start another business.
Awesome. I love that you have that clarity of vision and seeing it as a platform business to add on other businesses and setting it up to be something that is not just scalable, but like sustainable and eventually hopefully sellable.
Yeah.
And you're still in that build phase. Uh, but I think the build phase is really relatable to a lot of people and how you go about that and navigating it and the reality of just like sometimes you got to figure it out, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and funny that you say sell. I was actually gonna text you and tell you this. A couple weeks ago, I got a letter in the mail from, another window cleaning company, a franchise, like a nationwide franchise, and they were like, "We see you're doing really well, yada, yada, yada. We would love to talk about either buying your business or collaborating," and I was like, "Okay," like, I'm doing I appreciate it. It's like, made my head a little bit bigger than it already is, but, it felt good to know that, like, people are watching, competition's watching a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, if a franchise wants to come into a territory, right, they
Mhm.
either want you to convert to their franchise
Mhm.
or they want to get you out of the way of the
Mhm.
next franchise, the franchise coming in, or
Right.
just, you sell it and they put their label
Yep.
on it.
Yep.
So that's wonderful. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool.
It's awesome. Pretend you're 3 years ago.
Mhm.
You're about to start.
Mhm.
What would you want yourself to know then? What would you want an entrepreneur who's about to start and pick some random thing? They're about to get laid off from a startup
Mhm.
and say, "Screw it, here we go." What would you want that person to know?
You can do it. Like, you really can. Like, I try to tell everybody I'm a really big advocate for others. Sometimes I'm hard on myself, but, like, I'm a big cheerleader for other people. Like, you can seriously do it. If you have some sort of, like, business or brand or anything that your podcast that you wanna start, like, you can seriously do it. You just do the research, grind, if you have a full-time job and you need to keep that, do both, in the evening, work on whatever it is your passion is, or if you just got laid off like me, just, like, grind, and I that sounds like a horrible word, but, like, just you can make it happen.
I think we've made it a bad word, but in the reality is there's a difference between you grinding for someone else
And
Mhm.
and you
grinding for
grinding for
yourself.
yourself.
Absolutely,
And
That
absolutely.
is exactly right. That's the moment that for me that I was like, "Wait a minute. I am working hard for someone else to retire."
and
Mhm,
it still
mhm,
is hard work to be successful in our society. Like you it is it takes intentionality, setting a goal, going after it. It takes some grind.
mhm.
But it's more, it may sound like a dirty word now, but it's not. That is what it takes.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right, like, I made shit happen, because I wanted to, I wanted it bad enough, so I made shit happen, and I, got on the internet, did all the research, bought the equipment that I needed to have, got out there and knocked doors, like, it sounds hard, but when you're passionate and when you want it that bad, if you want that independence that bad, that freedom that bad, you can retire yourself, you're not worried about, if you're gonna get the next raise or anything like that, you're in control of everything, like, you'll make it happen. And that's what I did, and you can.
What has this experience given you specifically that informs you as you think about your next business?
Confidence is the biggest thing is confidence. I'm very, very confident in myself and what I can do and what I can achieve. Because 'Cause I've done this, I'm like, "I can do it again,"
Mhm.
just copy paste, like, same thing. So, I'm very confident in myself, and that's across the board in all the things that I do, football, school, things like that, very confident.
That's
You
awesome.
gonna get another master's?
No. No, 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 no.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our show. Thank you for your sharing your story. If someone wanted to find you for just getting to follow you, getting to know you,
Pressure washing.
but more importantly, pressure washing.
Yeah.
Pressure washing and window washing.
Yeah.
How would they find you?
So wongswindowwashing.com. I know it's a lot of W's, but yeah, Wang's Window Washing with an A. So WANGS windowwashing.com. You can also find us on Facebook as well. Same thing with Instagram. It's all the same handle. If you don't mind, I'll plug the Young Dreamers Fund.
Yeah.
So the Young Dreamers Fund is something that I started year one. It's basically a fund for kids or young adults ages 13 to 24. I think I set the age. If they have some sort of like STEAM project, creative project, business idea, any sort of idea that they want to bring to life over the summer, I'm funding 3 of those up to $500. You can find the application on my website. So again, wongswindowwashing.com, and just apply. And then the application will kick off in April, and then I'll have them chosen by the summer. That way we can start to fund whatever it is project or idea that you have so that you can make it happen. So
Good to
That's so
know.
cool.
Yeah.
That is
Yes.
so cool.
yeah.
I'll have to let the students that I coach right now know about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really eager to like help people
Get
fund
the
their
word out.
dreams, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
talking to us. It's been a delight. I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me.
Olivia.
Yeah,
Great to see
absolutely.
you.
Thank you.